Hello and welcome to WDW UK Newscast, The Pod. Yes, welcome back. My name's Danny and joining me this month is Lewis.
Hey everyone.
Shell.
Hi.
And Andy.
Howdy.
Howdy. We're back.
Hello.
But Matt can't make it this week. Work. That's his excuse and he's sticking with it. So, welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Thanks.
It has. Stuff's happened.
I've had a whole 3-week trip.
Yeah. You did a 3-week trip.
Yeah.
I look like a drumstick squashy. And Zandy and Joe did something.
Yeah, I did.
What did you do?
I got engaged.
Oh,
Congratulations.
It is.
So cute.
Look at that rock.
Look at the size of that ham hock. Wow.
Yeah.
Is it like Photoshop to make it look bigger? Or...
No, it's massive.
Oh, God, I just want to quote The Office there.
No, so do I. So bad. No, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
I've already said congratulations. I'm your brother, so I've said it 1,000 times already. Yeah, cool. Right, so got that bit of admin out the way. So let's crack on. So we've got a couple of bits that we're going to talk about. Unfortunately, a bit of sad news to start off with. Cal David, the voice of Sunny Eclipse at Cosmic Rays Starlight Cafe, has sadly passed away at the age of 79. Not a lot of news coming out on the cause of why he passed, but unfortunately it is a sad bit of news that we do start off with. So we do send our condolences to his friends, family, and acquaintances, because it is a sad one. Because Sonny's a favourite of most people, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So thoughts are with his family at this time.
Definitely.
We are going to then move on to some Magic Band Plus and how that sort of works and what it sort of does. It's the new Magic Band that's just recently been released, and Lewis was out in Walt Disney World at the time of release. So Lewis is just going to go through a few things on how the Magic Band Plus sort of acts.
Yeah, I mean, so essentially it was released on the 27th of July. There are a range of different designs, so that you can have the sort of the plain ones like you had with a standard Magic Band, i.e. they were just one color, or you can have lots of different designs. I believe the standard plain ones are about $29.99. That's $29.99, and they go all the way up to $44.99, depending on the type of design it is. Now, other than kind of like being like your ticket, the other things that it's supposed to do is you're supposed to be able to kind of wave it in front of the golden statues. So they're quite interactive, and the golden statues are supposed to, that's for the 50th anniversary. They're supposed to be interactive and speak and all that kind of stuff. When I was there, I didn't see that happening very often. So people were waving their bands like a loony, and then they're just going, "What's going on?" So they didn't really seem to do very much on that. But they also supposed to interact with the fireworks shows. So I believe they light up during Enchantment and Harmonious, and also it also interacts with the Disney Play app for things like the Bounty Hunter at Batuu in Disney's Hollywood Studios. So it does a number of things. I think from what I understand and what I've seen from people who have already got them, they're quite a lot of money for what they are. They don't seem to do that much. However, I think the technology is there to kind of expand on, and I think potentially they could really be quite a good thing. They're quite reasonable at the moment. To be fair, we actually bought normal magic bands when we went out for like $25 each. So it's just like if we waited another sort of 5 days, we would have got those for like an extra $5 and been able to wave our wrists at things like lunatics. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm sure Disney will eventually kind of make them really worthwhile using, but at the moment it just seems a bit of a gimmicky kind of thing right now.
Yeah, I must say I've watched a couple of videos, and the way it interacts with the nighttime shows is pretty cool. When it obviously works, because there have been a fair amount of issues, especially I think battery life has been one of them, because they charge as a smartwatch would charge, or like a phone would charge as well. So I think there was a few issues with the battery life sort of dying halfway through the day, probably because they're waving at the golden statues.
I guess what I struggle with the fireworks shows is, why would you want to stand for a whole fireworks show looking at your band?
That's
when you
true.
should be looking at the fireworks and the castle show.
That's
why would
really
you want to?
true.
What is? I don't really understand the point of that, but there you go.
Because it's not happily ever after; it's enchantment. So the watch is probably better, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, possibly.
We'll discuss that later, won't we?
Oh! Can I just chuck in something else?
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't say this because we were on a time scale. But did anybody see Mickey views over the last couple of days? Okay, so they're reporting that Enchantment has got will be having a new section a couple of minutes beforehand.
Historical.
It's all historical with Walt.
Walt and Roy, if I've read correctly.
Yeah.
Then I have read this. I haven't watched this video, but I've read it.
Yeah.
So that sounds cool.
That does sound really good. If that comes to light,
but why? But why a year after the 50th has started?
I would imagine because they've actually started listening to the fans, would you believe? And the fans have complained that there has been no nostalgia. So I believe they did surveys about it, and that was one of the questions. It's like, what is lacking from the 50th anniversary?
I've heard about these surveys going out. I mean, we've not had one since I've been. I don't know if you have, but I'm sure that Diz was mentioning that Disney is absolutely bombarding recent guests asking what could enhance your experience. I mean, great that they're actually putting some thought and effort to this, but you know, for some people it's a little bit too late.
Absolutely, but hey, a change is beneficial for future guests, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't going to mention this, but obviously we did yesterday announce, along with the Parks blog, that the Behind the Seeds tour and the Dive Quest and the Dolphins in Depth at the Seas with Nemo and Friends are returning to Epcot October 2nd. So that's pretty cool. We're getting some tours back as well. I feel like we shouldn't be saying it in August of 2022, but normality is very much either returned or is very close to returning at these parks. Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I'll cover some of this later on, but I would say that there's certainly signs of that, but there's still no Garden Grill breakfast.
No, there isn't. I was good about that.
It needs to change very quickly. And we're going to show Universal a little bit of love, because they have announced the lineup of haunted houses at Halloween Horror Nights 31. So there's 10 houses in total. So I'll very, very briefly go through what they are. So you've got the Weekend After Hours Nightmare. So that's based off the smash music hit of The Weekend that sing that song that everyone does the TikTok dance to. So that's great. Halloween, is also another house, The Horrors of Blumhouse, which if the picture is anything to go by, looks absolutely terrifying. We then have Universal Monsters Legends Collide, Wolfman v Dracula v the Mummy, Spirits of the Coven, Bugs Eaten Alive, Fiesta de Chupacabras.
That's easy for you to say.
Yeah. Hellblock Horror, Dead Man's Pier, Winter's Wake, and Descendants of Destruction. So, I mean, there's a fair amount that's been announced there, along with some scare zones as well. And they've got some shows that are, where are they being put in? The old Fear Factor Live stadium next to Men in Black.
Oh, okay.
Alien Attack. So they got a couple of things there. Has anyone ever done Horror Nights?
No.
Out of us?
No. Too scary.
Scary. I know. Yeah. You're like me, Chell.
I mean, I remember doing Fort Park. Halloween mazes, Fright Nights. Tell you what,
that's scary.
I do not want to do that like 10 times more scary and frightening. It's just because I know that's what Universal will do. It'll be loads more actors and stuff. I just can't deal with it.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to go to one, but
so would I.
No.
Yeah. I would just have a feeling that I would just end up just terrified and just running, screaming like
there would be a mess on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. If I was in these shorts, they wouldn't be white anymore. That's for sure. But yeah, So you know, they all look interesting. There's something that I wish I was brave enough to do, but unfortunately, I scare far too easy to want to do it. So we are going to move on to our sort of main talking point this week, which is Lewis has just got back from a lovely trip to Atlanta and Walt Disney World. So we're just going to sort of do a little trip report that we're going to go through and have a chat and see how Lewis's trip got on. So you know, as the I almost said estate agent, then you're a travel agent, aren't you? Not an estate agent. That's silly of me. Did you book it yourself?
I did.
Yes.
Did you book it for your own company?
Did you book it through a travel agent or did you book it through
okay, so I'm going to be really, really honest and say that I actually booked half of it through Your Great Adventures, and part of it I had already purchased part of with BA Holidays because I booked it for when we were going in 2020. So I had a credit from BA Holidays for the flights in the car, so we continue to use that. But all the hotels, the Walt Disney World and the Universals, I booked through Your Great Adventures. So
okay. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
No. So
yeah. So that's all right then.
Yeah, and I mean, I think actually, like, just kind of going slightly sideways on this kind of topic already, but actually, one of the things that I do is I do book flights and cars like fly drives, and that allows me to create the package. So because I have to create a package for you guys, and then I can then book directly with like Disney and Universal to add to that package. So it's something that I would have normally done myself had I been able to. So
cool. So travel day.
Yes.
So travel day. If I remember correctly, and I know it wasn't a long time ago. It was only a few weeks back, but you flew into Orlando and then drove up to Atlanta, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. How was that?
Long. So basically, what we did was as you say, we flew into Orlando, and may I also say, we flew with British Airways. Okay. Now I know Andy had some issues with Virgin, but so with the jumbos, the 747s, they used to have a 343 configuration, and the 777s used to have a 333 configuration. So they weren't really tight. BA, in their wisdom, and I think all the airlines have done this, have converted or put an extra seat in. So it's now a 343, and it's so tight. So you're like this. So it was possibly the most uncomfortable flight that we'd ever had. It was really kind of a really kind of tight fit, and I'm not the smallest of people in the world. And Freddie's like nearly 6 foot, and his knees were in the back of the person's chair in front of us. So it's just something to bear in mind. I don't know what Virgin's economy is like at the moment, but it was quite uncomfortable. So just wanted to kind of throw that out there. But at the end of the day, it's a tin tube to get you to where you need to be. So yeah, indeed. So so yeah, we landed at Orlando. We picked up our car. We also had a Grand Voyager, which we got from Avis. That was
beautiful car. That's what we had. It was phenomenal.
I don't think we had one quite as new as yours, but it was really nice to drive.
The automatic tailgate and side doors.
Yeah.
Just that walking with the fob going.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah, we had all that. We just didn't switch the engine on, so we didn't get the AC going. But other than that, we had everything else. And what we actually decided to do was, instead of just going to our hotel when we were, quite shattered, we decided to go to Disney Springs. So we went straight to Disney Springs. We had a look around Walt Disney. We were so excited to be there. Had a meal at Rainforest Cafe because that's kind of our place.
Okay.
And then I drove the hour up to where we were going to be staying, which was in a little town called Wildwood, where we booked a holiday inn there, which was a really lovely holiday inn. And then we did the rest of the 6.5-hour journey the following day.
Ooh.
So yeah, so it was a fair journey, but the kids said that they much preferred it to the plane because they had lots of space, very comfortable vehicle. So and I didn't mind driving it because it's just like roads in the States are big and dull, so it's straight, so it wasn't too bad. So yeah, we went to Atlanta, spent. So we went. My brother-in-law lives in a place called Snellville, so we stayed in Snellville.
Great name.
Yeah, and it was just an unbelievable development where they lived. Their bedroom is about the size of our house, and yeah, it was just a phenomenal place. We stayed there for 3 nights. So excuse me. We stayed there for 3 nights, and we sort of did a few bits. Like we went to the Atlanta Aquarium, which I don't know if anybody knows, but it's actually the largest aquarium in the world, and it is phenomenal. Yeah,
don't know that.
Yeah,
I just assumed it was in Dubai.
Yeah, well, apparently they're claiming it. So I mean,
yeah, we okay.
But yeah, so it's the largest indoor aquarium. I don't know whether Dubai have got any kind of outside bits, but
I was just thinking that massive one that they have in the shopping mall.
Yeah.
I just assumed that was the biggest.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Anyway, they can find it out between them. I'm not really fussed, but that was really cool. Also, we went to Top Golf. We experienced Top Golf for the first time.
Amazing, Top Golf.
Yeah. So we did a few things there, and then did the 7-hour journey back in one hit on the Thursday.
Ouch.
And stayed on the 192, and then we were ready for our Disney experience the following day.
That's a long old drive, man.
So, getting onto the driving, how did you find using the visitors toll pass? Did that work in Georgia? Or?
Well, funny enough, So it worked really well, by the way. That's a really good tip that Andy gave last time, and I would recommend. I'm recommending it to my clients now.
Mm-hmm.
So my total bill was like $18. That was it.
Don't you get something like 70% off or up to 70%?
Yeah, something like that.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
So I'd already paid $10 as part of the credit, and then they charged me another sort of $7.98 or something.
Yeah.
That was all I got charged, which was brilliant. And in Georgia, there's no tolls, no toll roads that I went on, so it didn't work there, but it didn't need to because I didn't hit any. So yeah, so that's really worked really well.
Before we turn to Disney, did you do any of the Walking Dead sites in Georgia? Or...
So the
Walking Dead sites where they film The Walking Dead?
Oh no, not at all. No.
Scary.
No, well, it didn't even kind of compute, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I was very much aware, like a lot of the Marvel stuff was, is kind of it filmed in Atlanta?
They got a Pinewood, didn't they? Pinewood Studio in Atlanta.
Yeah, so I was very, very much aware of that. But we didn't really have time to. We were only with our family for like 3 and a bit days, so we kind of made the most of just chilling out together. And
chill out,
doing a few bits. So, yeah, it was great. It was a great start to the trip because it kind of got us acclimatized, which has its pros and its cons.
What's the cons?
Well, then because you're acclimatized, when you get to Disney, you don't want to get up for the extra 30 minutes.
Suppose you're right.
Yeah, so it's always great to use the time difference, the jet lag, for your first few days because you can get quite a lot done. But again, I'll go on to the extra 30 minutes in a moment because that was quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So we've driven 7 hours back from Atlanta.
Yep.
All the way down, and we're now at Disney.
We are.
So you stayed on site, didn't you?
We did, yeah. We stayed at the at Disney's Port Orleans Riverside, which was lovely.
It's my favourite resort. It's my favourite resort.
Right, so let's talk about this resort. It is absolutely stunning.
Oh,
it is
everything about it.
It's from a look point of view. It's so lovely. It's beautiful. It's well maintained. The facilities are great. One day I kind of walked down to French Quarter, looked around there, then did like a whole. It was like the running track bit, where I walked it. I didn't run it, but I had a great look around. So we were on the Alligator Bayou section. The other section, which I can't remember the name of, but that area is just
the mansions.
Mansions, yeah, that's it, yeah. Or where the mansions are, that is just incredible. And every single section is sort of like I want to say decorated, but that's not the right word. But it's slightly different, the way they kind of landscaped it. So so that's phenomenal. So the resort itself is beautiful. We didn't ever use the main pool, which was right in the middle. We always used our kind of local side small pool, which was the quiet pools. Never had really anybody in it.
That's exactly what we did when we stayed there.
Yeah,
and we made loads of noise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so everything about the resort in an aesthetic sense was brilliant. The front desk were lovely. The guys there, and most of the cast members were great. The food was actually really good. We ate at Riverside Mill food court quite a lot. So that was really good. The jambalaya. Yeah, so boat rides we didn't do, but it's there.
Yes, it is.
It is definitely there.
Yeah,
and I'm just giving the facts. And we walked past Yeehaw Bob at least 2 or 3 times.
He's great, isn't he?
Absolute nutter.
Oh, he's bonkers.
absolute.
And I don't know
crackers.
how he plays a piano when the piano rocks like that.
No, but
He's like, he goes one way, the piano goes the other.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
But
He's
it's
so good.
Great fun. Lots of people there. So no, that was really good. So the downsides, if I may say, I don't want to sort of like, give it too much, but the downsides of the resort are the housekeeping is poor. We had a bit of an issue with that. They're supposed to come and service your room every couple of days, and do a full clean halfway through. I had to go and ask for my room to be cleaned at least 3 times. So yeah, that was a bit poor. Also, the staff at Riverside Mill Food Court really unhappy. They really do not want to be there.
That bad?
Yeah, no, I had a couple of real instances where, particularly the guys that are cleaning, they're just so unhelpful. They just don't want to put. It's not like the old Disney where they would just anybody would do anything for you. They just like literally don't want to know. So yeah, I had one point where we bought the refillable mugs, and I was at the drink station, and I kid you not. So there was a woman, a cleaner, cleaning the in front of the drink station. It was a bit of a mess, but I was standing there, and she just cleaned it and basically pushed me out the way so she could clean it. And I'm like, hello? Literally, she just wasn't interested in the fact that I was there actually filling my drink up. So little things like that let it down, but other than that, it's a great resort and a great location, and yeah, we would probably go back there.
Yeah. So, did you get the boat to Disney Springs?
Oh yes.
Oh, I love that.
Lovely.
That is the most relaxing boat ride in the world.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Oh God.
It is, and it isn't.
Go on.
When I went out, we had one of the coolest old guys driving. He was like, yeah, I'm really cool, just like leg up on the side of the boat, all this kind of stuff. Like, when you said thank you, he was like, yeah, all right, he was like, he barely said a word. On the way back, had a lady, God bless her, told every Disney joke under the sun the whole way back. And it's kind of like at the point
this
where
isn't the Jungle Cruise. Yeah,
it's just like I just want to just chill out and watch the kind of the scenery or the trees or the Saratoga Springs villas or whatever going past. It's just like the tree houses.
Yeah.
It's
11:30 at night, love. I don't care about Seven Dwarf jokes. I just don't. I don't.
Yeah, it was. She was entertaining for a while, and then it got a little bit kind of okay. I'm done now. So, but yeah, so it can be relaxing, but also it can't be.
Right.
So
yeah,
but yeah, no, it's, it was.
We've had a couple like that.
It was a good resort. Definitely a good resort.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you like that one because it is up there. It is my favourite Disney resort. I love it so much.
My favourite.
First one we ever stayed at. I've stayed at there another couple of times as well.
It's just peaceful, so peaceful.
It's calm, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
the way I look at it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's well spread out. I think it's well appointed, and yeah, it's just it's a nice little walk. You've got a 4 or 5 minute walk to the the main building. It's all tree lined all by the river. It's really, really nice. So definitely like it.
Yeah. The parks.
Yeah.
What were they like?
Parks were good, but busy.
Okay.
Yeah. Busy. Yeah. On most, so we were there for 14 days for pretty much straight.
Right.
I would say for 11 of those, they were very full.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now,
you didn't
go on. Sorry, Charles.
No, was that did you go at the start of summer holidays in England, or were you?
Yeah, so that's good. It's a good question. So we actually went at the end of the US summer holidays, and then the start of the UK. So we had a bit of a mix of the two. So it was going to be a busy time. We knew that it wasn't going to be a quiet time, but there got to be. I don't know what Andy your experience was, but we got to a couple of points in like Magic Kingdom where Main Street was almost chocker. It was it was very full.
So one day we'd queued up for, you got the photo pass photographers in the middle of Main Street, and we were next in line, and the lady just said, "I'm really, really sorry, but the tram's coming down the trolley. We just need to step to the side, wait a few minutes, and then we can come back and take a picture." And I said, "Yep, not a problem." So we moved out of the way, let the trolley pass, and you've got the not the Dapper Dance, but the Main Street characters, and it's playing. And we'll come back, and there's about 65 people that just jumped in front, and I looked at them, and I had to really sort of restrain myself from a few choice words, but the girl just looked at me and went, "I'm sorry," and I was like, "But you're supposed to be in charge of this. You're supposed to say, excuse me, folks, this family here were in the line. We just had to move."
Yep.
And there was no management of them. Like it's like you say, it was kind of like, "I'm getting a paycheck, folks. I just really don't care anymore."
Yeah. I didn't get that in the parks, but you did see elements of that for sure. It's more of, I think, with Disney, their training plan was always like about 3 months, I think, or something like that. They were or 6 weeks. It was quite a long training plan. And now it's like, it wasn't 3 months. It was about 6 weeks, but now it's kind of gone down to a week, and you can tell that the ethos is actually, I'm just here for a paycheck, rather than I've got a love for Disney and I want to show what Walt wanted to, the guests to see. I don't get that from probably about 40 to 50% of the cast members now.
Well, I remember listening to an episode of The Diz many years ago, and Craig, what's his face, who's the sound editing, was talking about his experience of doing the college program, and he said the problem with the college program is it's very cheaply funded. Kids who, yes, want to turn on and put on their CVs. I did a summer at Disney World. I was a cast member. I was Cinderella. But in reality, I'd just going down to Florida for the party, and they don't have the same ethos as a career cast member. And
yeah. I mean, like I say, I think there was an element of people there that are just there for the paycheck, and because they need it. And fair play to them, but I still think there's a responsibility for the management behind Disney to make sure that they still keep to that code of ethics and that standards that we have been used to over such a long period of time.
We've all worked in customer services roles at some point, or still doing some measured degree, right? And we've always said, we always think about the experience we want is would that be the same experience that we would give? So it is a little bit disheartening, but I hope this is just purely down to the fact that I know there's still a lot of issues in terms of getting people back in work at the moment, and that's not just Disney, that's the USA all over.
Yeah, I think that's everywhere, but yeah absolutely, definitely. So so the parks were busy, and I think from previous experiences, what I would have said is that we did a lot less than what we would have done. We missed Fast Pass. We missed it so much. We didn't. We kind of refused to do Genie Plus.
Good.
And until the very last 2 days.
Okay, so you did it.
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with a particular ride in Epcot? Or...
No. That was just because the parks were so busy that we got so much more done when we utilized it.
Yeah.
Because we knew how to use it.
But it's designed to do that, though. It's designed to make you redundant on it.
Yeah. So we did use it.
So speaking of Genie Plus and that whole, shall we say, technological arena, how did you find being completely redundant on your mobile phone? Did you have any issues with your mobile phone while you were there?
No, we didn't have any issues with mobile phone. Wi-Fi was decent.
Sorry?
Oh yeah. There you go.
So, to the listeners who can't see what's going on here, I've just shared an image of the video chat in our little communication chat we have for the team here at WDW UK Newscast. Lewis, what do you? So I'm in this image on a call with Chelsea, and prior to this, about 10 minutes earlier, Dan was on, and 5 minutes before that, Matt was on.
Bearing in mind, I was watching an Aladdin panto at Haven, Devon Cliffs at this point. And there I go. All I've got on my watch is pinging at me going, Lewis is calling. I'm like, what's he calling for? It's got to be important.
I got really excited. I was like,
I thought he was going to show
like
us something. Yeah. I thought, he's going to show us something.
It's Marshall. He's driving on Main Street going, hello, look at me.
What? Yeah. It was just a dark pocket.
Butt dialed us.
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, guys.
No, it's hilarious.
So basically, I was in Epcot with Evie, and we were doing a really quick run around to try and get a few bits that we hadn't managed to kind of eat, or she hadn't eaten. She wanted to try around the Food and Wine Festival. So we're literally running around that. So you probably heard us ordering like an Impossible Burger and a strawberry spritzer or something like that. But yeah, I had no idea.
There lots of rattling bang around. At one point, I said it was either Dan or Chelsea. I think he's on a roller coaster. He's on a ride.
Yeah, you said it to me.
Yeah, it was you.
Literally, I'm so sorry that I was calling you for at least. Well, on my phone it said at least 15 minutes. It could have been.
It was hilarious. It was absolutely hilarious. But the thing is, me and Dan left the chat, but it kept on trying to ring the rest of the group.
I'm so sorry.
So I joined in because I saw Matt join the call. I was like, "You're right, mate." Like, what's going on? I said, "Lewis's butt dialed." And then I'm desperately trying to think who can I message. And the only other person from your family I had on Facebook was Evie, and I was like, Evie, your dad's ringing us from his pocket. We can all hear him.
Honestly, Andy goes to me. I answer. Andy answers. He goes, "What's going on?" I went, "I can't hear you." What in the background is Bang Gangnam Style. Bow, bow, bow. I'm like, I can't hear you, Andy. I don't know what's going on. I think he's butt dialed us. I'm gonna go now because I'm watching Aladdin on the pantomime.
But it wasn't until Evie said, "What is going on with your pocket?" that I realised that something was actually going on, because you could hear some kind of, obviously your voice is coming out. So
I came back on, and Chelsea's literally howling and laughter with Beck in the background. She's like, "Andy's on it, Lewis."
What's he doing?
This image that Chelsea's really coolly caught here was the fact that we just saw you go, "Oh, hiya."
Yeah.
And the thing was, it was so loud I couldn't hear you either. So you like talking to me, and I had no idea what you were saying. So I'm just like going, "Yeah, whatever, yeah. Oh, I'm in Epcot. What? Oh, bye." I can't hear. Bye.
Funny.
Even messaging me back about 10 minutes later, she went, "Sorry." It's okay.
So funny.
Oh wow, yeah. Sorry about that. But
that
anyway,
one was good though.
I'm good. Oh no, it wasn't. But anyway, it just goes to show that the Wi-Fi was very good, because I had
15 minutes that was ringing. Yeah, so the Wi-Fi didn't drop at all.
Yeah, it didn't drop at all.
Mind you, on the same day, I don't think it's related. The amount of reports coming out of Epcot where people are saying, "Can't get on Genie Plus, it's not working. Somebody's hogging the bandwidth."
Yeah, that would be me. That would be me. So yes, so I found using the phone awful, quite frankly. I didn't like it. But you are basically made to be on your phone all the time.
Yeah.
And I did buy a power charger before we left, and I'm so glad that we did, because I literally had to charge my phone 3 times a day, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, like I said to you, a lot of the filming I did was off my iPhone, and it wasn't for the fact I already had the fuel rods, and I kept on looking for places where I could, like we said, Chelsea, run in, boom, 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 back out. Again. But yeah, it's insane how much you go through with it.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I have the feeling I'm going to need to invest in a fuel rod next April.
But then plus the heat, your phone's just burning.
Yeah, indeed. Well, you use it for everything now. You use it for your photos. You use it for finding what the ride times are. You use it for doing your genie or everything. You're using it for everything, and it's not an ideal scenario at all. So, but I don't really understand. I don't really understand why Disney are going down that route, because again, the point of having Walt Disney World was that it was a place where you enjoyed your family. You spent time with your family, and now the amount of times I had Catherine complaining at me, going, "All you seem to be doing is on your you being on your phone." I would have been Richard.
So much
it's all the time. So
you promised me
updating your YouTube channel. Sorry.
But so parks were busy most of the time.
Okay.
We had to. We didn't do half as much as we would have done. Our average queue time was quite high, I would say. And where we tried to beat the system, like doing the additional 30 minutes for those guests that were on the site. So I will tell you now, we did that 3 times, twice at Hollywood Studios, with the main aim to get on Rise of the Resistance.
Right.
And every time we did it, it was down.
The ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day, actually, we were in Hollywood Studios and Rise was down for the entire day.
It's so bad.
And I think one of the things that we did notice again was that rides were breaking down and going down.
We noticed
regularly, loads. And I had my first in-show exit.
Where were you?
On the TTA.
Superb.
On the People Mover, yeah.
Whereabouts were you?
So we had just gone through the spaceship. The Space Mountain section. We'd just gone past sort of Tron on our right hand side and turned the corner.
Right.
And it kind of then started to go and then it started up again, and then it went and we stopped, and then it took them about half an hour to come and rescue us. It probably took us about an hour to get out, at which point it was probably about 7:30, and they gave us a lightning lane, a free lightning lane to use, but what they didn't tell us was it had to be used that day. Whereas as the rules are, if you have a lightning lane given to you for after 7 o'clock, it should be you should be able to use it the following day. But they set it so it was only allowed to be used on that day, so we didn't use it.
Did not speak to guest relations and say.
We did, yeah. They gave us another. We went to Epcot the following day. They gave us another one, but they basically said, "Oh, but yeah, we have to give you one that's you can only use the same kind of attraction level on that." So the only thing we could have used it for Spaceship Earth or Living with the Land, or it was pointless. So we never really used it in the end. But that was a bit frustrating. But it was a good experience to have that kind of in-show exit type thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how to explain. It's just busy all round, really. But it doesn't take away from what I want to be clear is it doesn't take away from the magic of the place. You still feel like it's home. You still feel like it's a great place to be. You still loving a lot of the people, a lot of the cast members are still really good. Really nice. So and we just did it slightly differently. We just did the parks differently this time, where and actually what we found our rhythm was that we would kind of go in the morning or chill out in the morning, then go like later in the afternoon, and then do like a whole evening, particularly if it's Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios or Epcot, where it was open till sort of 9, 10, 11. we would just sort of go from 4 all the way through and get quite a lot done at that point. When it was Animal Kingdom, it's slightly different because that closed at 8. So that made it a bit more tricky. But that's what we found. And where we would have done like Everest like 10 times with like fast passes, we did it once this time. So a lot of the rides were one and done, with the exception of Guardians of the Galaxy.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Talk to me, because you put in our group chat, it's the best ride at Walt Disney World right now.
It's the best ride in Florida right now.
Wow.
In our opinion.
Okay.
So we tried all the new ones. Now, bearing in mind, we didn't do Busch Gardens and we didn't do SeaWorld, but from anything between Disney and Universal, in our opinion, Guardians is the best attraction, period.
Better than Velocicoaster.
But did you do the Velocicoaster, Andy?
Couldn't get on it. So we'd gone to the Jurassic World dig site for lunch, and the plan was to sit down and get the food. I was going to leg it round to do the DAS pass and then come back, but because it took so long to get through for lunch, by that point, it was insane in there for food. And when we walked around, it was like an hour wait. And we went, got the ticket. She just said, "Come back an hour," and we've just had enough by that point. Which I'm glad we didn't.
Yeah, well, we managed to get it on it once. So Evie, Freddie, and I did it quite late in the evening, so it was dark.
Okay.
First of all. Okay. So I'll come back to the Velocicoaster. Well, I'll come back to Universal in a minute, but I just want to talk about Velocicoaster very quickly. Now, don't get me wrong, the theming and all that kind of stuff is great. Universal have an absolute love for metal detectors. Every ride that you go on, you got to go through a metal detector because they don't want you to take anything on it. So they have lockers inside the main of the ride, so you can basically get everything into the locker and then go through the metal detector. So the lap bar thing is by far the scariest thing I've ever done. This attraction loses purely on the basis that I was petrified.
Wow.
Right? And I love coasters, but the amount of airtime that I had out of my seat with a lap bar was phenomenal.
I can't wait for this ride.
I tell you what, like literally, it was exhilarating but petrifying at the same time.
Cool.
And you wouldn't believe, I just felt like I could fall out of my seat all the time. All of the time. Literally, you go over a jump, you would come out your seat, you'd be upside down, you're out your seat. And what feels like, to you, about a foot off the seat, you're probably about half a centimetre, if that. But, it feels like you are going to go. And I think for that reason, we all kind of felt like literally Freddie's face when we got off it, he was like this.
I wasn't like, yeah. It was like,
no, it was like he was just like stunned in silence. I was just laughing. I was just like giggling, and I had a single rider beside me. I really wanted to talk to him, and was like, but he was just like as cool as a cucumber. He was literally just like, yeah, so what, But I was just like giggling like a girl because I was just like, I've just gone through a situation there where I could have died about 16 times.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a phenomenal ride, but it's not the best purely for the fact that you feel like you're actually going to die.
So, just to put comparison up, there's two amazing sort of rides, amazing, like you say, theming. Which pre-show was better, Guardians or Velocicoaster? Because I know, Terry.
Guardians.
I love Terry.
Guardians, without a doubt.
What song did you get?
Oh, right. Okay. So the first one we got was September.
That's the one I want. I want it so bad.
It was so good. I mean, and then we got Conga.
Okay.
Second time.
Do.
The Gloria Estefan Miami Sound Machine one.
Oh, got you. Right, yeah.
And then, but Catherine and myself, being children of the 80s, we really, really wanted, well, they were kind of 80s songs, but we really wanted Everybody Wants to Rule.
Tears for Fears. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Wants
I
to Rule
got.
the World. So good. Literally. And it was quite emotional, really, when you kind of riding it with that. It's the way that attraction is put together. Just literally, I would stand up and applaud the Imagineers.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah.
it is really, really well put together. And you'll wait. I don't want any to give any spoilers, but the room where you're kind of teleported to the ship. Oh my goodness,
It's great.
that is a moment.
Okay.
It really is. Yeah. So, but yeah, it is hands down, from in our point of view, the best ride on property and between Disney and Universal. For us, it's a proper family coaster.
Cool.
It's brilliant.
Well, just for the listeners out there and obviously the watchers, we do have our own exclusive ride POV on our YouTube channel of this amazing ride. So after this, get your butts over there and have a watch because it's just hilariously brilliant.
Rule the World is our song as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, it just to point out, from an attraction point of view, both when Rise worked, that was brilliant. But Guardians, boy, that's a cracker. That is an absolute cracker.
That's amazing. I'm so happy you liked it.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Superb.
By the way, if you come back and say you didn't, Danny will disown you.
What's that?
If Danny comes back and says he didn't like it, we'll disown him.
Oh yeah.
Kick him
I don't
out.
think that's going to be a problem.
No.
But can I just say a couple of things about virtual queues? Actually, can I just say a few things about everything technology based? And I'm sure Andy probably had similar kind of thing. The amount of people that we saw being turned away from gates because they didn't have a park reservation was astounding, really.
Wow.
So many people going up to a particular park and they didn't have the correct reservation. At one point, we were in Epcot and it was past. I think basically they thought they could just park hop to a different park. It was after 2:00, and the cast members basically said to them, "You have to go to Magic Kingdom to do your park reservation and then come back."
Yeah.
So we saw a lot of that. So that's very confusing for guests. So remember, you've got to use your park reservation.
The weird thing is that system's been in play for a long time now, so that's got to be Disney failing to communicate it really well.
Yeah, I think so, and people failing to do their own research as well. But that's we saw that quite a lot, and we saw that park hopping was confusing because people thought they could park hop, but the Americans didn't have park hopping tickets, so we saw that going on as well. We saw people trying to get onto virtual queues, like onto Guardians without a virtual queue, not knowing that's what they had to do. We saw lots of different situations. Lightning lanes, people trying to get into lightning lanes and scanning their magic bands or their tickets and not having a lightning lane because they didn't realise that's what the deal was. So there's still a lot of people that are not understanding what Disney has put in place, and
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
It's not like there's millions of YouTube channels and podcasts out there.
Well, but not only that, I would say there's not because obviously if you do your research, you'll see it, but it's still blooming confusing.
That was my point. It's overly complicated.
It's overly complicated. It doesn't need to be like that. It's horrid.
And we'll move on to Universal in a minute.
Yeah,
you don't need a park reservation for Universal, do you? No. And this is the thing as well. This is the thing that's sort of bugging me over here in England, is the fact that we still, as a Merlin pass holder, I still have to book my days to go to our parks over here. Why are we booking?
Yeah.
It worked perfectly fine before the pandemic, and it should still work perfectly fine now.
Yeah.
And,
I mean,
and the fact that Disney can't turn around to us and go, "Oh, it's a cast member issue." No, it's not a cast member issue.
It's a money issue.
They want to know exactly where people are at every second of every day.
Yeah, and also I think it's now becoming okay. We know that Magic Kingdom and Disney Hollywood Studios are going to be fuller than the other ones, so let's shut down those reservations and put people in Animal Kingdom and Epcot where we don't have so many guests, so we can fill those out and get people to spend money there.
Yeah.
So the other thing I would just say about park reservations, when we looked to try and do a few changes, we found that Epcot and Animal Kingdom, they were generally available pretty much the day before or the day of, but Magic Kingdom was always almost sold out or taken about a week before, and Disney and Hollywood Studios was probably about 3 or 4 days before.
Yeah, I thought that's weird because you didn't have that, did you, Chell, when you went over Christmas?
No.
You didn't have any of those, but you could change like that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bizarre.
but we couldn't. We couldn't
weird,
change.
isn't it? You would think Christmas would be would be a no-no.
Yeah, we never struggled. Like if we had like Magic Kingdom booked and then we woke up and was like, oh no, we want to go to like Hollywood Studios instead. We didn't have any issue with changing.
I think that again is down to numbers. I mean, obviously the European influx coming into America has boosted numbers, but they literally just announced within a very small window of time. Oh, by the way, this date was it October or November?
Which date? Sorry.
When they reopened US travel, it was literally announced like.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, October. Yeah.
So it was literally like you got 2 weeks' notice. Now, unless you're in a financial position that you can do that, or you had a holiday, you could just ring up and go, move it now, and get the time off work. The influx didn't really pick in until people started ringing up the travel agents and saying, Lewis, let's get booked for May, let's get booked for July. So I think that flexibility was a little bit easier for you at that time.
I agree with that completely. I think there was probably not so many people hitting the parks at that point.
Yeah.
And even from a US point of view, I think now the way that they look at COVID is very much similar to us, which is it pretty much doesn't exist.
Was it the Delta variant that was prevailing at Christmas?
Yes.
Yeah.
So so it's I kind of lost my thread of where I was there, but it's technology is it's a real problem, I think, for guests. The other thing I just want to say, virtual queues are quite easy to get.
Yeah.
The 7 o'clock one is probably more tricky at the moment.
Yeah.
But 1 o'clock's fairly straightforward.
I got 1 o'clock with absolutely no hassle.
Yeah.
I was online at 10 to 7 within the queue, and by the time it hit 7, they were gone, and I was like, yeah.
We managed to get we did 7 o'clocks 3 times, and we managed to get them bang on somehow. Although we were just really fortunate. Yeah. But I also
was that on Wi-Fi or was that using mobile data?
Actually, it was on Wi-Fi.
Okay.
On and in the rooms as well.
Okay, because they are saying come off the Wi-Fi and take the hit on your mobile data.
Didn't need to.
A better chance of getting it, but
so
I think it's just if you time it right.
Yeah, I think it is. It's literally. We watched the video and it basically said about 2 minutes before 7. Just as long as you've got everything in place, just keep refreshing. Keep tapping the refresh. Keep tapping the refresh, and it just happens. It just it was
all of a sudden, bang! It appears on your screen. You've got one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the difficulty we had is that it opened while we were there. Where by the time you got it, it'd been open for a few months.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but that's just a couple of bits on the technology front that I think was worth pointing out.
Fair enough.
Can I talk about food?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Food at Disney.
Talk about food.
So, we didn't do as many restaurants because we didn't have. Well, no, we didn't have the dining plan.
Yeah.
But what we actually realised was that we didn't have the dining plan, and you're very blurred.
Yeah.
So what we realised was that we didn't actually need the dining plan, and the credits that we were given as part of our package was actually really,
Rubbish.
it really worked really well. There were 6 of us because it was my mum and dad as well. This is brilliant TV, brilliant
Honestly.
YouTubing.
Has it done it now?
So professional.
All I
So
can say is somebody recommended this camera to me. I'm not going to mention their name, but it's.
Yeah, and you're back now. You're back. It's cool.
There we go.
So there were 6 of us because my parents came as well for the Disney section, and that first sort of $800 plus the $200 gift card pretty much lasted us for the week. It really
Wow.
did. Yeah, it did. So if you kind of go to the right places, you can actually do all right with it. So just to give you a quick rundown of our highlights, Polite Pig was our new find. Absolutely love it at Disney Springs. We used to love Wolfgang Puck Express.
Yeah.
That is the new Wolfgang Puck Express, guys. Gotta go there if you want a decent, good value, really good quality meal. Go there without a doubt.
I kept saying in 2017 when we were last there, I'm going there before we go home. I'm going there. I never ended
That's
up.
what we said at Christmas. We were like,
Honestly,
we've got to go there before we go.
Every single day we went to Disney Springs, I went, we're going there, and I never ended up going there, and I was gutted.
It was a bit of a weird situation because we picked up my mum and dad from the airport, and we'd stopped off at a Chili's actually, and Catherine was just like looking at me going, "Why have you stopped here? Why don't we just go to Disney Springs?" And I'm like, I was a bit moody, and I went, "Oh, all right." And so we went to Disney Springs, and that was the first we parked in Lime Garage. That was the first one we passed.
Yeah.
We walked in, and it was the best thing we'd ever done. Like literally, one of the best meals we had while we were there.
Amazing.
Really good.
Yeah,
definitely do it. Sonar, have to do Sonar, people.
Bread service.
Yeah,
bread service was brilliant.
Sonar, where is this?
That's the Animal Kingdom Lodge.
It's the Kidani Village side.
The Kidani Village, yeah. If you like your kind of African Indian flavors, but like I had a lamb dish. The lamb was just like
melts in your mouth.
So good. Surprise of the 2 weeks was the Grand Floridian Cafe.
I have heard really good things recently about it, so really? that doesn't surprise me.
Well,
but it does.
Well, let me tell you, we decided to go to Magic Kingdom. We can't really remember what happened. We went to Volcano Bay. That was the biggest disappointment of the holiday. I'm just going to put that out there. Volcano Bay.
More on this when we move to the Universal section of our chat.
Oh.
No. We'll discuss that in a minute. Let's carry on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did not love it. Anyway, so we went over to Magic Kingdom in the evening, and we were trying to find somewhere to eat, and that was a reservation that just came up, and we said, let's do it. And again, it was a last minute decision, but really good food, great food, lovely atmosphere, brilliant service, and really good value for money. So
you went from good to great then, so it must have been good because you went good, great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Can I just say we did do the Garden Grill. We did it for dinner, and it was a nice meal, and it was lovely. 6 of us though, it cost us over $400.
Wow.
Okay, and it was okay. I mean, the food was nice,
but was it worth $400?
It was not worth $400. We went to the Grand Floridian Cafe. We ate probably better meal, and it was half the price.
So we did a lot of off-site dining, and we found like the Chili's, the Applebee's, the Denny's. We were getting really good meals for really good value compared to what we would have paid at Disney.
Yeah, but I think my point here is actually there's some really great restaurants in the resorts, and you're paying half the price. of what you would do in the parks.
Yeah.
So if you can get yourself away from a park reservation and go to one of the resorts, say for example, if you're in Epcot, go to like
Riviera.
Yeah, or the yacht club or beach club, or go to Boardwalk Inn or whatever. Find a restaurant there. It'll cost you half the money.
$60 a person at Garden Grill.
Yeah,
I'm on the website now.
Yeah.
Holy moly!
Plus 18% tip.
And did you see characters?
Ooh.
Yes, we did.
Right.
And they were great. They were really, I mean, I love the characters at Garden Grill. The thing is, I think what we realized was when, we love the characters and we love seeing them. But, now Evie and Freddie are now not 12 anymore. They're 16. There's only so many times that they really want to get up to see them. So with Garden Grill, they just come round and come round and come round and come round. And in the end, bless the characters, they were trying their hardest to engage with us, and we were just like, we just want to eat our food. So it's just like,
one, Chip. I'm eating my sausages. Go away.
Indeed. But Tusker House was really good as well. And we also really enjoyed the Yatkin Yeti, the restaurant section. That was really good.
Okay, cool.
So I'm sure we ate. We ate at Ohana's for breakfast.
Yep.
And that's $25 a head, people.
It was cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheap.
There's no characters at the moment. That's why.
Yeah.
But great food, and we were a bit annoyed with the service a little bit, because what we didn't realize was coffee was included. They didn't tell us that. And my dad asked for a coffee, and we thought it was going to get charged extra. So none of the rest of us had coffee, and then it didn't come up on the bill. They just kind of gave us pog juice.
I think it's just if you order like Cokes or something like that.
Yeah.
I think teas, coffee, and the
juices.
juice come with the
Yeah.
with the milk.
So
So
they never came round with the coffee, so they never kind of offered it, and that was a bit naughty. We felt.
Tusker House for breakfast is also $60 an adult as well.
But can I just say that felt worth it?
Oh, okay.
The service that we had, the characters were awesome. Goofy was just brilliant. I tell you, it was so much fun. And the food was brilliant. And the chicken curry for breakfast, do it. It's brilliant.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lovely chicken curry thing that me and Evie demolished.
Good on you.
Superb.
Yeah, so those are they were our highlights. And then I will just mention a couple of places that we did eat at in Universal. We went to the Hard Rock Cafe, which wasn't bad.
Okay.
It was probably a bit overpriced, but
it's a bit mediocre in it, but
it's always, the other thing we find about Universal restaurants is they're always absolutely freezing.
Yep.
Their AC,
the Hard Rock is like an igloo.
The AC is just on far too high. We're all sitting there shivering, which doesn't help the experience. We also tried the Toothsome Chocolate Emporium.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I love it in there.
Yeah, so that's quite a bit left field for us. But
Chocolate
bread.
But
the food was pretty decent. The desserts are phenomenal. The milkshakes are just a different animal.
You'd like to think they would be, wouldn't you?
Yeah. But unfortunately, in all the Universal places, the service was so slow. Literally.
This is something Andy said when we did his trip report.
Yeah. So we also went to Mel's Diner.
We went there. Love it. Yeah.
Right. Well, we had the worst experience ever in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. The server was rude. They couldn't work out the fact that we wanted 2 coffees and we wanted them hot, not cold. It took them 20 minutes to sort out coffee for us, like two cups of coffee. They couldn't. We ordered an Impossible Burger that took 25 minutes to come out. It was just it was a shambles, absolute shambles.
Wow.
And it was dirty, and then I managed to drop my drink with my MS hands, and drop my drink, and there was a server or waitress or somebody cleaning up actually, I think she was one of the managers who just looked at me and didn't say, "Don't worry, sir, I'll sort that out for you." She watched me clean it up and pick up every bit of ice that I could possibly get my hands on. So, yeah, so that's not one of our favourite places, Andy.
You shan't be going back to Mel's driving then, will you?
No.
So
No.
the only thing I would say for us with Mel's is that we got there and they do this combo, don't they, where it's like, say, it's the milkshakes, and we already got, the refillable mug. And the girl just said, "What do you want?" We ordered, and we picked up the trick that it was cheaper to order kids' meals for everybody. So I was like, I'll have 5 kids' cheeseburgers and the nuggets, please. And she's like, "What are you eating?" I said, "Oh, I'm fasting." And she went, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Great conversation stuff right there. She's like, "You're fasting? It's not Ramadan." But it stopped her. And we just refilled this up. And so I wasn't paying for a meal. And the thing was, the adult burgers, this big. Can anybody guess the size of the children's burgers?
Same
size.
And they're about $10 cheaper.
Yeah. We just didn't enjoy it there. We had a really bad time. So unfortunately, Mel's dine-in, drive-through, whatever your name is.
Mel's smells. Struggle with Mel's smells.
Get in the bin.
Get in a bin.
Laters.
Get in a bin, Mel.
Yeah. See you later, Mel.
Bye, Mel.
And just to finish up the food thing, Food and Wine Festival.
Oh, it's the best, isn't it?
Some brilliant bits at Food and Wine Festival. My favourite was I had 2 actual favourites, but from the Greece Pavilion section, they had a lamb gyro, which was like,
oh wow,
it's so good.
It was just like
so good,
softest pita bread with a lovely bit of lamb and some.
I do love a good gyro.
Tzatziki,
really good.
Like
Tzatziki,
yeah.
Honestly,
and the exact same. It's the same one I had back in 2017.
Yeah,
it is out of this world.
Superb. The other thing that we really enjoyed was the paneer, masala from the India
booth.
Yeah, paneer. Yeah. Chicken tikka paneer. The paneer tikka. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So we enjoyed that as well. So that was decent. So there's some really lovely things to get from there. And Catherine also said that the Impossible Burger was really good. So,
you've mentioned Impossible Burger 2 or 3 times now. Is Catherine vegan?
No, she's vegetarian.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you eat any off-site? Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, we the only one we went to was Cracker Barrel in Atlanta. Never again.
That is.
That's all I'm going to say.
Well, the name like Cracker Barrel, what do you expect? No. Get in the bin, Cracker Barrel. Get in the bin.
So can I just? All I will say is that I had the chicken and dumplings, and I stupidly chose the white sauce gravy. When it came out, Catherine said, and I quote, "Why did you order beluga whale?" Because that's what it looked like. And it tasted
like
rubbery and not great either. So yeah. It was not a good meal. It was not on my favourites list, hence not really talking about it. But no, we didn't eat anywhere else off site particularly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go.
It sounded good though.
I'm sure I've missed some food bits out, but hey, that's
probably
the highlights.
Before we wrap it all up, Universal. So you stayed at a Universal hotel as well, did you? Or...
Yeah, we stayed at the Lowe's Royal Pacific Hotel for 2 nights. Okay. So we'd stayed at Lowe's before, really enjoyed it, and we really enjoyed it this time. Like the rooms are lovely, really well appointed. Got lots of nice, it's lots of space. We had adjoining rooms for my parents as well, so it kind of that helped. It's a big resort though, what I would say, and we found that the boat so that you could get a boat to sort of Island Adventures and stuff. They weren't quite as frequent as what I felt they were in the past, so we did seem to wait for those a bit. But what I will say is that I think, like Andy had the same kind of vibe. We were really expecting to love Universal, absolutely love it, particularly with Freddie and Evie being 16. But when our biggest mistake was going to Universal after Disney, because we just missed Disney so much.
Right.
So, and it's, no matter what anybody says, Universal is not Disney. And they just don't have the same
different vibes,
presence,
aren't they?
Yeah, they don't have the same kind of presence. They don't have the same way.
They're still great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what, like, me, Chell, and Matt have discussed next year, and we're gonna, because we're staying off property, we're sort of gonna mix it all together.
Yeah.
So rather than doing a block of Disney, then a block of Universal, we're gonna sort of
hear that. Yeah.
We're gonna mix it all in.
Yeah, I would say that was our plan, and actually we went to Universal on day 3 or 4.
Okay.
And then we didn't go back again until we actually stayed there.
So the thing I didn't like about Universal, you know, you get the fast pass, whatever it's called for Universal, the express pass. Sorry.
Yeah.
We use the DAS system there.
Yeah.
Where it Disney, you do lightning lanes. You literally have maybe 4 or 5 minutes before you get the ride. It's very rare you go past anything bigger unless there's part of the pre-show that you have to do, right? We would go for the lightning lanes and still have a 30, 40-minute wait. Now, the whole point for us having the DAS pass was because we have an autistic child who's incapable of waiting, and we said that we had to verify that. And I just thought, right, granted, we're not waiting the 2 hours that everybody else has waited, but it kind of defeats the point of the service.
Yeah. So the express lanes, we had the express passes, and we picked them up, and we were really excited. We probably did the wrong thing, to be honest, by going straight into Minions, you know, and we went into Despicable Me, and we thought, well, it's express pass. It might be a 2-hour wait there, but, you know, surely the express pass queue will go very quickly. That was a 45-minute queue for us. And it's not worth a 45-minute queue no matter what, unfortunately.
It's fun, but it's not.
And my parents came on it as well. So my dad's 81, my mum's 72, and they, I completely forgot how bouncy and jerky it is, and not fun at all, really. And so all I was doing was worrying about them. And to be fair, they didn't. I think that really kind of didn't do them any good, because they didn't feel great afterwards and didn't do anything else after that.
Didn't go on Velocicoaster then, no?
They didn't, no.
Rip Rocket, no?
No. Oh, the other thing about Rip Rocket was when you go up the vertical, I felt like I was going to fall out.
Going to fall out. Yeah. I always say that.
Yeah.
Always say that.
And it's just a lap bar.
It is just a lap bar.
Yeah, but my lap bar didn't open the last time I was on it, when I got back into the station, and I almost ended up going up again. And it weren't until right at the end they managed to get it open, and I leapt out.
Well, I
would have been like that, Gwen. It's fine, son. It's fine.
Well, the thing is, though, right? We couldn't really understand. Again, we were discussing this. Why is that a rolling attraction? Why does it not stop? That's got to be dangerous, surely. But anyway,
because you feel quite rushed, like getting in.
Yeah.
Quick, everyone get in.
Choosing your song.
Yeah. It's like, am I really done up properly? Where's
Rolling? Where's Limp Bizkit? Come on.
Yeah, that was my one, Limp Bizkit Rolling. So,
did you get express passes included because you were staying? You did.
Yes. So
you stayed on site.
So, they didn't really work for Despicable Me. Actually, that day that we were there, I think we did Men in Black and Simpsons, and none of them were very short. We had a good 20 minutes on queue on each one of them, so they didn't feel very express. But the following day, we went to Islands of Adventure, and actually it worked quite well. And actually, first thing we did actually was we went to do Gringotts, and we got on Gringotts within about 5 minutes with the Express Pass. So it did work then.
Do you think like the bigger attractions it works better? Because obviously Universal don't have like massive compared to what Islands of Adventure's got, like bigger.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, for some reason, I just think that for Universal, it just seemed because they don't have those kind of. I don't know what it is with Universal, but studios, but it just didn't seem to work as well as it did in. Whether it's because, like you say, there's bigger attractions in Universal, so less people go on them. But I mean, we were doing express passes for the Hulk, and I think the longest we went on that a couple of times, and we were like on 10 minutes. It was pretty good. And
Did
the
you
queues
have
were like,
express pass?
I'm sorry.
Was your express pass, was it unlimited each day,
Yeah.
or you could also you could go, so you could ride the Hulk as many times as you wanted on the express pass?
Yeah. The only thing
nice.
the only thing you couldn't use it for was Velocicoaster.
Yeah.
And Hagrid's.
Did you do Hagrid's?
Yeah.
We didn't get on Hagrid's.
Shame.
That's my biggest regret, is that we didn't get on Hagrid's.
Did it ever break down, or was it just the case that it was just too busy?
It's just too long a queue.
Yeah.
It was like 120 minutes all the time.
Yeah, that's when we were there. And I wonder whether or not they were doing that to force queues in other places at one point.
Well, I mean, we even sort of going quite early in the morning, it was just like skyrocketing up, like, you know, really quickly. So we just kind of said, we're going to use our time elsewhere.
Sensible. It is sensible. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck there all day, getting hot and miserable, and and you'll end up resenting Universal Studios.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I guess, you know, the two things that we kind of didn't really do, actually, there's three things that we didn't really do. We didn't get to do Hagrid's, which was a shame. We didn't get to do Slinky, and I felt that was a shame as well. And we didn't get to the Japan Pavilion in Epcot, which I'm really gutted about.
Wow.
So they were the three things that we kind of didn't get to do. But it was a really, really great trip. And I think if I can just kind of close it off and summarize a couple of things that I would say is definitely, as I mentioned, if you're going to eat on site, maybe don't eat in the parks, but eat in the resorts, because you will save yourself a lot of money.
Yeah.
The dining credit that they're giving you actually goes a lot further than you think. So do sort of don't curl your nose up at whatever Disney are giving you as a credit, because with the dining credit and then your gift card, actually it goes quite a long way. So it's well worth it. And you do find with the lack of dining plan, you eat much more sensibly and a lot less. And you actually probably would save yourself a lot more money actually going forward. The other thing that I'm going to say, which is going to be quite controversial, is actually use Genie Plus.
That's a shame. I really didn't want you to say that.
Yeah.
Damn.
If you want to make the most of your days and you don't want to be in very long queues, then use Genie Plus, particularly for Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios.
Okay. See, I think the beauty of when now is you have to buy it on the day now.
Yeah.
So it might be a case of, you know, see what the queues were like.
See what they're like.
Yeah. The downside of that, though, Danny, you know, it's not so much a problem for. I mean, the problem with off-site guests is that you can't start using your Genie Plus until the time the park opens. Okay, whereas on-site guests, they can start making their first reservation at 7 a.m. So, and what we found was, like, one of the things that I wanted to do with Genie Plus for our Hollywood Studios day was book Slinky first. Right,
it was gone by the time the park opened, wasn't it?
As soon as I logged on, I clicked on Slinky. The first time it showed up was 11:15, and then I re-swiped it, and then it was gone to 1:45. It goes that quickly.
Wow.
So if you're off-site, you haven't got a hope. in getting your a Slinky Dog at all.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to queue it because as if my youngest makes the height because he is desperate to do it, I'm getting in that queue no matter.
Yeah, I queued
what.
it. I queued 90 minutes for it.
Yeah, and I think you can. And the other thing I would say, for those that are staying on site, is if you're going to go to Hollywood Studios and use your sort of 30 minutes extra, go towards Toy Story rather than Galaxy's Edge, because you'll get more out of that 30 minutes there than you will anywhere else. And the other thing I would just say, finally, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is brilliant. And actually, for such a great little attraction, the queue time never seemed to go over 30 minutes while we were there.
No.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a phenomenal attraction. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
long were you away for? A month? Or would you say like 3 weeks? What would you say? How long was your trip?
And then effectively, it was a 3-week trip.
3 weeks. Nice.
So there you go.
Beautiful.
So that was a great trip. We don't know what we're going to do in the future, whether we're going to give it a couple of years, because next year. Okay, so check this out. Next year, Catherine's 50, Evie is 18. The following year, Freddie is 18, and I'm 50. So we're going to probably bang a Disney.
Do a Disney cruise.
I believe there's a Disney cruise in your future, Lewis.
There might be. And then we're probably going to do a Disney trip in 2024, and we might look at something different for 23.
Nice.
But we'll talk about it in a future show, shall we?
We might talk about that in a different show.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds
good.
Okay.
So thank you for listening to my ramblings and let me reminisce about my trip, which does actually feel, even though we landed last Monday and it's like Wednesday, the 16th today, it feels
17th.
like, is it? Sorry?
17th.
Wow. It feels like months ago. It really does.
It's time to buy a new calendar, Lewis.
Yeah.
The 1999 one doesn't work anymore.
A new brain, I think, is good.
Well, anyway. Christmas soon, so you can ask Santa Claus for one, can't you?
Yeah, indeed. And I'm going to, next time, I'm not going to have this background so it looks like I've got mini ears all the time.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Great, I love
you got Princess Leia buns. It's great.
Like
yeah.
See me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope.
Yes. So there you go. Thank you for listening to that.
Thank you. It was lovely to hear.
Yeah, sounds like a good trip.
Your trip. That was superb.
Yeah.
Love it. Couple of things before we do end. We are going to wrap this up within the next couple of minutes. If you have enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, give us a like. It will really help. Hit that subscribe button as well. That again, we would greatly appreciate that. We have got some more ride POVs and some more stuff coming very soon. If you are on our Instagram or following any of us, you're doing a little giveaway, Chel.
I was just about to say, I'm doing a Disneyland Paris 30th
quickly,
giveaway.
Yeah, very quickly, tell everybody what they have to do, and then see what they can win.
Yeah, so I'm doing a Disneyland Paris 30th anniversary giveaway over on my Instagram. And it's really easy. You just need to like the post, make sure you're following my account, and make sure you're following the WDW UK Newscast account. And tag a friend in the comments, and you might have a chance of winning some little prizes. You know,
they look good. It's one of the reusable bags. Map,
yeah,
button in there as well.
A 30th reusable bag, 30th map, a little pin, a chocolate bar with the 30th on it, and then mini little shampoo, conditioner, and a soap from the Hotel Cheyenne.
As you do. Superb.
Lovely.
Well, yeah, make sure you go onto the Instagram, like Chel's post, follow everything that she's asked you to follow. That'll be fantastic. Don't forget you can find us on Facebook and Instagram as well. We're still not on the Twitters, but because that's that. yeah, so thank you very much for listening along. Join us again next month, which I'm sure will be all about the D23 Expo in September. So have a great, big, beautiful day, folks. And remember, tomorrow is just a dream away.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
See you soon.